If you think AI governance is just a problem for your tech team, you really need to think again. It's quickly becoming one of the most critical issues for every single business leader, every legal counsel, and every board member. So we're going to dive into why AI governance has gone from being some far-off worry to a right here, right now problem for every business.
Let's just start with a number that ought to get your attention: 35 million euros. And look, this is not some random made-up figure. It is the maximum penalty under the EU's brand new AI Act if your company uses a prohibited AI system. This is regulators sending a message loud and clear. The time for just talking about AI ethics is over. Now they are enforcing it with some very, very real financial teeth.
And to really get the scale here, let's put this into perspective. Most of us remember the shockwaves that GDPR sent through the business world, right? Well, the penalties under the AI Act can actually be way higher. We're talking up to 7% of a company's global annual turnover. The bottom line is, the financial stakes for getting AI wrong have just gone through the roof.
But please don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, this is just a European thing. It's not. This regulatory momentum isn't just stuck on one continent. What we're actually seeing is the creation of a global AI rulebook, and every single organization needs to be paying very close attention, no matter where you're based.
The EU AI Act is really the starting pistol. As the world's first comprehensive, legally binding regulation for AI, its risk-based approach has pretty much set the global standard. It's become the blueprint that lawmakers all over the world are now looking to.
Okay, so let's jump over to the US and see how this is all playing out. Right now, there's no big federal law, so what's happening is a patchwork of state-level rules is popping up really fast. By 2026, we're going to see laws go into effect in states like Colorado, California, and Texas, and they're all focused on the big stuff, like preventing algorithmic discrimination and demanding way more transparency when you, as a consumer, interact with AI.
And again, this isn't just a US and Europe thing. It is a global pattern. We are seeing almost identical regulatory movements taking shape everywhere from Brazil to China, South Korea, and Japan. The message from regulators all over the planet is unmistakable. AI accountability? It's not optional anymore. It's becoming a global expectation.
So all of this regulation is happening for a very specific reason. And it all comes down to this fundamental tension that's right at the heart of modern AI, the challenge of the black box.
It's a fair question, right? If AI is just really sophisticated software, what makes it so uniquely difficult to govern? Well, the answer really boils down to its complexity, and maybe most importantly, its frequent lack of transparency.
This quote from archive.org just hits the nail on the head. See, the most powerful, the most accurate AI models are usually the least transparent. We can see the decisions they make, but we can't easily explain how they got there. Imagine an AI you're using for hiring that keeps rejecting perfectly qualified female candidates for a tech role. If you can't explain why it's doing that, you can't fix the bias, and you are wide open to huge legal and reputational risks. That is the black box problem.
This chart does a great job of showing what we're talking about. So let's compare a simple logistic regression model, that's the blue shape, to a much more complex neural network in orange. Now that neural network might be way more powerful, but look at where it scores lower: inherent interpretability. This shows us that judging an AI isn't just about how accurate it is. You have to balance that against how consistent it is, how complex it is, and crucially, how well you can actually explain what it's doing to a regulator or a customer. Okay, so you're faced with all this complexity. Where do you even start? Well, thankfully, you don't have to start from scratch. There's a clear, actionable playbook that's really becoming the gold standard for navigating this whole thing: the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. So what is this NIST AI RMF exactly? Well, it's a voluntary guide from the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology. And even though it's not a law, its super practical, flexible approach to managing AI risk has made it a go-to standard for organizations all over the world who are trying to build AI they can actually trust.
The whole framework is built around 4 simple but really powerful ideas. First, you map out your AI systems to understand what they're doing and where. Then, you measure and analyze the potential risks. Next, you manage those risks with controls and you keep an eye on them. And finally, you govern the whole process with clear policies and accountability. It's this really intuitive cycle: map, measure, manage, and govern.
And I want to be clear, this framework isn't just for your data scientists. If you are a general counsel, a risk manager, a board member, or a CISO, this is designed for you. It gives you a common language and a structured way to oversee AI, to ask the right questions of your technical teams, and to bake AI risk right into your broader company strategy.
So this brings us to what I think is the most important shift in mindset. Adopting a framework like this isn't just about avoiding some fines or checking a box. It is about making a strategic pivot from being reactive to being proactive, and how your entire organization thinks about and uses AI.
Here it is. This is the key takeaway. Think about it like this. Compliance is making sure your new AI tool doesn't break a specific rule today. It's a checkbox. Governance is the whole system you build beforehand, the team training, the data reviews, the ethical oversight that stops the problem from ever happening in the first place. One is just a reaction, the other is a core business strategy.
So I'm going to leave you with one question to take back to your teams. Right now, at this very moment, your AI systems are making decisions. Decisions that affect your customers, your employees, your bottom line. Can you actually stand behind those decisions? And if you are challenged, could you explain them? Because pretty soon, you're not going to have a choice.